Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into a cell that's supposed to be empty but somehow isn't. You've just arrived at a facility where silence doesn't mean peace and paperwork doesn't always tell the truth. The lights hum, the air is too still, and the smell in your new bunk whispers that someone left in a hurry or didn't leave at all. You probably won't survive this. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your processed, late intake after dark. One of the guards mutters something about overbooking, then hands you a plastic bin with a toothbrush the size of a crayon, 2 pairs of state-issued socks and underwear folded like they've been chewed on. The ride to your new unit is silent, except for the wheels of the cart. No talking, no welcome. Just concrete metal and buzzed doors. The CO walks ahead of you, stopping at cell 4B. This one's open, he says, like it's a choice. It's not. You walk in. There's already someone on the top bunk fast asleep, or pretending. You say, "Hey." No answer, just a long exhale. You climb into the lower bunk and notice it's warmer than it should be, like someone was lying there 5 minutes ago. You blink. That's when you smell it cleaner and something else. Something too human. Like old sweat, cheap lotion and panic. It's faint, but it lingers. You unpack. Slowly. You place your soap on the sink ledge and your single pen under the mattress. The one photo you brought, it stays in your pocket. Something tells you this room eats things. Your cellmate never turns around, doesn't speak. The silence stretches. You eventually lie down, trying to ignore the heat radiating from the mattress. That's when the door clicks open again. Wrong cell, the guard says, checking his clipboard. Wait, no. You're fine. Just stay put. You sit up. He's already gone? Weirdly enough, that's not the strangest thing about your first night. It's the extra toothbrush. You see it in the morning next to the sink. Not yours. Not your bunkmate's. She doesn't even brush, apparently. It's a third brush, pale pink, gently used. You ask. She shrugs. Been there since before me. How long have you been in this cell? She stretches. 4 days. You look at the toothbrush again. Someone didn't pack. You report it casually to the CO during morning rounds. He nods. Doesn't write anything down. By lunch, the brush is gone, but your suspicion isn't. That night, the bunk creaks. You wake up to the sound of a drawer sliding. A breath short, shallow. You hold still. There's no one there. But your top bunk girl is sitting upright, staring at the door. Not at you. At the door. Who used to be in this cell, you ask the next day in rec. Someone shrugs. Some girl, quiet. Prayed a lot. What happened to her? Another shrug. Got transferred. I think. Historians still argue whether transfers in early 20th century U.S. women's prisons were genuinely for safety or thinly veiled ways to erase scandal. The word transfer still works like bleach. It covers the stain, but you know it's still there. You can't stop thinking about the smell, the warmth, the toothbrush, the way the guard hesitated when he saw your name. Back in the cell, you stare at the blank ceiling and wonder if anyone ever really leaves without leaving something behind. Like a scent, or a silence, or something much heavier. Your second day begins with a schedule taped to the wall outside your cell. Blocks of time carved into neat squares, chow yard job duty lights out. Order in theory. But in practice, it's all soft rules and hard glances. You're adjusting your jumpsuit when you see it again, the toothbrush. Not the pink one this time. A blue one. New. Neatly aligned on the edge of the sink, like it's always been there. But here's the thing, you only have one roommate. You stare at it for too long. Don't worry, your bunkmate mutters from above, voice muffled by the mattress. It won't be there by noon. She's right. By the time you come back from mess, it's gone. Like someone's playing janitor with selective memory. You decide to get nosy. The unit clerk Dina is bored chewing a pen cap while logging grievances that never get answered. You strike up small talk. Ask casually, "Hey, did someone get moved out of 4B before I came in?" She frowns, types something, then shakes her head. Just you and Ava in that cell. No one else. Ever. You feel the goosebumps before you realize you're cold. But what about last week? She double-checks. Nope. Nothing. Been vacant 2 cycles before you, which to be clear is a lie. You don't argue, not because you believe her, but because she does. So either the system is wrong, or someone's made sure it is. You remember a quirky thing someone said in rec yesterday? The prison ghosts here don't make noise, they rearrange furniture. It was a joke, you thought. You're not laughing now. Later that night, you stay up late pretending to read. Ava's asleep. The light from the hallway bleeds under the door, casting long shadows across the concrete. You hear footsteps, soft ones, then the faint snick of a key in a lock. Your door doesn't open, but the lock clicks. Twice. Then silence. You check the mirror mounted above the sink. From that angle, you can see part of the hallway just enough to catch a flicker of movement. A shoulder, a sleeve gone before you're sure. The next morning, there's no toothbrush. No trace. But the bottom bunk yours has been made. Neatly. And you didn't do it. You sit on it, unsure what you're supposed to feel. You run your hand along the pillow and stop. There's a name tag stitched into the seam, M. Solano. Not you, not Ava. You bring it up to Ava. She's brushing her hair with fingers too thin for comfort. Solano, she says. That sounds familiar. How? She shrugs. I think she sang in chapel. Real soft voice. Like a kid's show. What happened to her? Ava pauses. Then, no idea. Might have got released. You both know that's a lie. People don't just get released quietly from high-security units. There's paperwork, escorts, noise. You go to chapel during quiet hour. It's empty, smells like mold and furniture polish. You sit where the choir normally gathers. There's a hymnal left open to a page with a corner folded in. It's a Spanish lullaby circled in pencil. Duerme, duerme, mi niña. You don't know why, but it makes your throat tighten. You leave fast. Too fast. In 1873, a report from a New York women's reformatory revealed that several inmates had gone missing from records entirely later discovered to be relocated for discretion. Historians still argue whether this practice was corruption or simply convenient forgetfulness. Either way, the erasure was deliberate. That night, you decide to check the bunk again. The mattress, the seam, the tags gone. You feel your stomach drop. Like the timeline itself is shifting. Like someone is rewriting your cell while you're sleeping in it. You lie down and try to breathe through the tightness in your chest. But your dreams are restless. And when you wake, you're holding something. It's a folded piece of paper. You don't remember it being there before. It's blank. Except for 3 small numbers written in pencil, 217. You memorize it, burn it into your brain, then flush the paper before Ava sees it. You don't know what the number means yet. But you check the board the next morning, pretending not to care. Cell 217. It's listed under administrative overflow. No names. No assignments. No movement logs, just a gray box on a laminated sheet with no smudges and no questions. But your gut says otherwise. You pass it during your janitorial shift, pushing a mop down the hallway, with the kind of dramatic sigh that makes guards roll their eyes and let you be invisible. Cell 217 sits at the far end of a corridor that doesn't echo right. The lights above it buzz a little sharper, and the air somehow feels heavier the closer you get. You stop in front of it, just for a second. There's a faint smudge on the door. Fingerprints, dust. Could be anything. You lean in. There's no name tag, just a number carved slightly unevenly into the paint. Like it was done by hand, not by system. That's when the buzzer sounds. Time's up. You move along like nothing happened. But something's already lodged itself inside you, curiosity mixed with dread. Later that day, Ava asks you if you've noticed the chaplain, the way he holds his keys, the way he lingers in front of doors even when no one's inside. Especially 217, she whispers. You try to play dumb. He carries 3 key rings, she adds, but never uses 2 of them. You make a note. Quirky fact time. In Victorian England, female reformatories were often run by clergy members who were given private access to special cases. Historians still argue whether those cases were genuinely for protection or for other purposes entirely. You start noticing more, like how Officer Hill always looks away when certain inmates are escorted through the East Wing, or how the logbook for medtech rounds skips room 217 every Tuesday. Like the building forgets, it exists on purpose. You bring it up to Dina again. What's up with 217? She narrows her eyes. Why you trying to request it? You laugh too hard. God, no. Just wondering why it's on the map but not on the tracker. She pauses. It's admin space. They run interviews there sometimes, like case review. Sure, she says. Let's go with that. She goes back to her pen. But you caught the hitch in her voice. That night during quiet hour, you don't go to chapel. You wait, in your bunk, watching the cracks of light under the cell door. Sure enough, there's movement. 10:12 p.m. Keys, a knock. But not on your door, across the hall. A girl, young blonde. You've seen her in laundry, always humming, always quiet. She steps out in socks, no shoes, no guard speaks. The chaplain is with her. She follows him like a dog on a leash made of silence. You count seconds, 5 minutes, 10, 14. Then she's back. No words, no sound. She walks straight past your door, but you see her hands. They're shaking. Her chapstick is gone. You know this because she's always applying it, like a tick. But tonight her lips are cracked and dry. You try to find her the next day. She's not at laundry, not at mess, not in rec. You ask Ava. She shrugs. She's probably in transfer. You push. You think it's a real transfer. Ava doesn't answer. Instead, she hands you something folded in her palm. It's a test strip, sealed, unused. You recognize the brand. You've seen it passed around. Contraband, yes. But more than that, it's currency. Found it in the shower drain, Ava says. Thought you'd know what to do with it. You don't. Not yet. But you take it anyway. Because it might be the only truth left that hasn't disappeared. That night, when the buzzer sounds for lights out, the bulbs flicker. Once, twice, then still. You check your mattress before lying down. There's nothing there, but it smells different again. Clean, too clean, like bleach and something else. You lie back wide-eyed, watching the red camera light in the corner blink steadily until it stops, and you realize they're not watching. Not tonight. Which begs the real question. Who is? You wake up with your heart pounding, unsure why. There's no noise, no alarm, just that cold, vibrating silence that feels like the room itself is holding its breath. Ava is already up tying her shoelaces too tight like she's ready to run even though there's nowhere to go. You swing your legs off the bunk and pause. The mattress is different. Not softer, not cleaner new, and it's not yours. You run your hand across it. Plastic crackles under the sheet. The label is still attached, W217C. You blink. Read it again. 217. Ava notices. That wasn't there yesterday. No, it wasn't. And now it's in your bunk. You don't remember anyone coming in during the night? But maybe you were asleep. Maybe they waited for the lights to flicker. Maybe that's why they flickered. You try to play it cool. During rec hour, you wander near the staff gate. There's a laundry cart filled with used sheets. You pretend to sneeze and look for old mattress tags. There are none. No one else got a replacement. You ask quietly around. Has anyone had their bunk switched lately? Laughter. Girl, they don't replace anything here. You gotta kill a rat with your bare hands to earn new socks. You don't laugh. Later that day, you pass the chapel again. It's closed. Locked. No one inside. But taped to the window is a sign service canceled until further notice. You ask the CO on shift why. He shrugs. Chaplain's on leave. You glance back. When did that start? He flips his clipboard. 3 days ago. 3 days. But you saw him last night. You know you did. You go back to your cell. Ava is gone for med call. You pull the mattress up, hands shaking, nothing underneath. But on the underside, stitched into the lining, you find 2 initials, barely legible MS. The same as before. M. Solano. The mattress followed you. Quirky bit of prison trivia. In a women's facility in Pennsylvania during the 80s, inmates claimed that certain beds carried memories, objects that reappeared or disappeared under the sheets, no matter how many times they were moved. Historians still argue whether it was psychological trauma or carefully orchestrated manipulation. You sit down, clutching the edge of the bed, trying to remember how many times you've seen that name, Solano. Once on a pillow tag. Once in a chapel hymnal. Once whispered behind you in the lunch line when you weren't supposed to be listening. You decide to file a grievance, just to see what happens. You keep it vague. Question about cell inventory and mattress assignment. Possible crossover with old transfer materials. You hand it in during count. By dinner, your bunk is searched. Not Ava's, not your neighbor's, yours. No warning, no explanation. You're brought to holding for random questioning. They ask if anyone's passed you contraband. If you've spoken with the chaplain lately. You lie. They already know the answer. When you get back, the mattress is gone. Replaced again with your old one. The lump in the middle. The spring that pokes like a guilt trip. Ava watches you unpack your folded blanket. You shouldn't have written anything. You stare at her. They read it that fast, they don't need to read it. They know who's asking questions. You pause. You ever see the chaplain too many times? She doesn't explain. She doesn't need to. That night, you sit on the lump in your bed and stare at the ceiling thinking about the missing test, the missing girl, the mattress, and that cursed number 217. Somewhere someone is counting on you forgetting. And right now, the only thing keeping you awake is the fear that you might start to. You decide you've had enough of watching. So you follow. The next time the chaplain appears. Thursday night, 9:57 p.m. sharp, you're ready. You've stuffed your pillow under the blanket, adjusted the lump to look vaguely human. Ava's in on it barely. 15 minutes, she mutters. You get caught, I didn't know. You nod. Because if you don't see it with your own eyes, you'll lose your mind trying to piece it together. The chaplain walks like he owns the floor. Not fast, not cautious. The kind of walk you only earn when people are trained not to ask where you're going. His robe is loose, but beneath it the keys jangle just enough to catch the light. You trail him silently through the edge of the shadows, past Sea Wing, past the laundry room, until he stops right outside room 217. You duck behind the ice machine. He unlocks the door. The sound is soft but deliberate, like velvet unzipping. And there's someone already inside. You only catch a glimpse: bare feet, orange jumpsuit, and a wrist pressed tightly against a chest, like the girl is trying to hold her heart in place. Then the door closes. You don't breathe for 37 seconds. Then you move. Back to the cell. Quiet. Fast. Your lungs burning from holding in more than just breath. Ava glances up when you return. Well, he brought someone inside. She looked scared. Of course she did, Ava says, and returns to her book like this is just a Tuesday. You lie awake thinking of the girl's face, the tension in her jaw, the way the chaplain didn't speak, just guided her in with a hand on her shoulder like a chaperone at prom. You think about your mattress again. Wonder how many people have laid on it before you, or were never meant to get back up. The next day, you go looking for the girl. She's not in the mess hall, not in laundry. You check the showers during third shift. Her towel is still hanging, still damp, but she's gone. You ask around, no one answers. Then Dina finds you during mail call. You asked about room 217 last week. Your blood freezes. Yeah. Why? She lowers her voice. Don't. Just don't go near it. Why not? She pauses. Because they're watching who watches it. You nod like you understand. But you don't. Not until later that day when you see the camera light flicker. Not the whole feed. Just the indicator. It blinks twice, then dies. Just like it did the night your mattress changed. And that's when it hits you. The camera doesn't record everything, but it reacts to something. Maybe when the keys turn, maybe when the door opens, or maybe when someone's watching who shouldn't be. You ask yourself, if the system is broken, who's covering it? Fun prison fact. In 1994, a women's facility in Louisiana was caught running 2 separate rosters, one digital, one physical. Inmates disappeared from the digital log for up to 72 hours during spiritual retreats. Historians still argue whether the cover-up was clerical error or coordinated abuse. That night, you return to your bunk. The lump in your pillow is off. You unzip it and find something inside. Not a shank, not a note. It's the stolen chapstick. The same one the blonde girl used every single morning before she vanished. The cap still warm like it hasn't been out of a pocket long. You stare at it. Why was it returned? Why to you? Because someone thinks you're next. Because someone's asking you to remember. Or because you already know too much. You don't sleep. Not that night. You just lie there in the dark, holding a tube of cherry balm, like it's the last piece of someone no one will name, hoping to God it's not some twisted invitation. The chapstick stays hidden in your sock, tucked behind your ankle bone like a talisman. Every time you walk, you feel it press against your skin, a quiet, unwelcome reminder that someone's already been erased, and their things are looking for new hands to haunt. You start listening harder. In the yard, during free hour, women don't talk openly, but they talk sideways. You catch phrases buried in small talk. She left her shoes. They took her tray 3 days in a row. No paperwork, just gone. And one name keeps floating up in cautious whispers and quick glances. Solano. You finally ask Ava directly. Not with words, but with a photo. You draw her from memory. A crude sketch on the back of your grievance form. Round chin, soft eyes, a little cross necklace. Ava takes one look. Her face doesn't change, but her voice drops half an octave. She sang during prayer. Soft voice. Never looked people in the eye. Where is she now? That's the wrong question, Ava mutters. You wait. She finally says, ask who's using her name. That stops you. You hadn't considered that part. But it makes sense now, like a file being copied and pasted with new dates. A body recycled, a voice reassigned, and maybe a pregnancy rerouted. Because let's not pretend anymore someone was pregnant. You saw the test. You saw the girl. You saw the light flicker, and then the test was gone. Now the chapstick's back. Like a clue thrown from behind the curtain. You slip it under your mattress beside your folded socks and the tiny piece of soap that's lasted longer than your peace of mind. That night in the showers, someone brushes past you. A girl you don't recognize. Pale, hair tucked tight under a cap. But the way she walks, deliberate, floaty, like she's being watched, makes your stomach knot. She drops something on purpose. A slip of paper soaked from steam. You wait until the room clears, then grab it from the floor. 3 numbers, again, 217. You don't go to sleep that night. You wait. And right around 10 p.m., the hallway light flickers once. Then again. Then nothing. You slide off your bunk, open the slot in your door, and peer through. The hallway is empty. But then the camera light goes out. Not all at once. Just a fade. Like someone slowly turned down the dial until it blinked out. You whisper to Ava, it's happening again. But Ava isn't in her bed. You check the room. Look under the bunk. Check the sink. Gone? Her shoes are still there. But she's not. You sit down hard on the floor. Your hands are trembling. Not from fear, but from how predictable this has become. They've moved her. Like they moved the girl before her. Like they moved Solano. You check the door, still locked. So how did they take her? You don't sleep. You wait. Morning comes like a slap. You file another grievance, this time about a missing inmate. By lunch, your name is on a transfer manifest. Quirky side note. In a women's facility in Queensland, Australia, inmates have claimed for years that being transferred for routine reclassification often coincided with incidents of silence files, locked, grievances shredded, and names quietly rotated out. Historians still argue whether these transfers were logistical or deliberate misdirection. Your CO pulls you aside during mail call. Pack your things, he says. You're moving upstairs. Why, he shrugs. Cell rotation. Standard. You nod. Play along. But you know better. You're being watched. You're being measured. And you're getting close. That night you find Ava's mattress gone. In its place, one with a faintly familiar tag stitched to the underside. Solano. You touch it. And this time it's warm. The mattress is warm. Not sun-warmed, not heat-trapped from body warm, recently occupied warm. The kind of warmth that fades within minutes unless someone's just left it behind. And unless ghosts have started taking naps, it means Ava was just here. You run your hand across the tag again. M. Solano. The stitching is uneven, the last letter frayed like someone tried to pull it out and gave up halfway. You check the corners of the bed, the seams. You even peel the sheet back. There's nothing. No blood, no note, no toothbrush. Just that sickly, undeniable warmth. You sit down, palms pressed to your knees. You hear footsteps outside and freeze. It's the nurse. Not one you've seen often. No clipboard, no chart. Just gloves and a sealed envelope tucked under her arm. She stops in front of your cell, glances in, and then without a word, walks away. You watch her turn the corner, heading toward cell 217. You've had enough. You wrap the chapstick in a sock, stuff it into your jumpsuit pocket, and follow. You walk fast, quiet. The guards are distracted by a yard dispute, the radio buzzing about someone refusing to lock up. The hallway leading to 217 is empty, except for her. The nurse is outside the door, unlocking it. Inside, you glimpse a chair, a table, a pale blue blanket draped over something. The nurse goes in. The door clicks shut. You step back, memorize her face, her steps, her hairnet, the small bottle of sanitizer hooked to her belt loop. Then you vanish before she sees you. You ask Dina that evening if there's a medical log for Solano. She looks up, tired. You're still on that, I just need a date. There is no date. You raise an eyebrow. She's not in the medical database. You pause. But she was pregnant, wasn't she? Dina hesitates. We don't keep those kinds of records in general population. You don't ask more. But your mind won't stop spinning. You return to your cell and check your mattress again. Still warm. Still Solano. You flip the edge of it one more time, and that's when you find it wedged between the foam and the seam, a pregnancy test. Sealed. New. But aged at the corners like it's been hidden a while. Your hands shake, because it's the exact same brand. The same kind that disappeared when the lights flickered that night. The one that vanished. The one you never saw again. Until now. You sit on the floor, back against the wall, test in your hand. And you realize it wasn't lost. It was past. You weren't watching someone else's story unfold. You've been written into it. And now the test is yours. Just like the mattress. Just like the silence. Just like Solano. You turn the box over and see two numbers inked faintly on the back. 217, a date, no. It's August. But what if it wasn't a date? What if it was a code room 217, cell W217, C? Now, February 17th. You dig through your memory. Ava once mentioned that date in passing. Weirdest chapel day I ever had. February 17th. You didn't think anything of it then, but now it's crawling under your skin like static. You slip the test into your jumpsuit and walk. Straight to chapel. The doors are locked, but the lights are on. You peer through the side window. There's someone inside. Just a silhouette. Sitting alone in the first pew. You knock. No answer. Then the lights go off. Fun fact. In a now declassified 2003 investigation into a correctional facility in Nevada, a whistleblower revealed that chapel services were sometimes used as meeting spaces for undocumented health interventions. Historians still argue whether the program was meant for rehabilitation or quiet erasure. You back away from the door. Slowly. That night you put the test under your pillow and lie awake. You don't plan to use it, but a deeper part of you knows it was left here for a reason. And next time the lights flicker, you might not be the one holding it. The next morning the test is gone. Not under the pillow. Not in the sock. Not in the toilet tank where you tucked it just before lights out. Gone. You don't panic at first. You tell yourself maybe you moved it in your sleep. Maybe Ava took it back before she disappeared. Maybe your memory's worse than you thought. But your cell is locked every night. Ava's still transferred. And your memory's sharp enough to replay last night's thoughts in HD. Someone came into your cell. Again. You ask Dina if night rounds recorded anything unusual. She leans on her elbow like the question itself weighs too much. Security cameras are offline after lights out. Power grid cuts feed to preserve energy. Seriously, she shrugs. It's budget logic, or maybe someone's logic. You walk away before your hands betray your face. In rec hour, you overhear it. She had a test right. Yup, same brand. They said it never existed. They say a lot of things. You follow the whisper trail. It leads to a girl named Shauna in laundry. Quiet. Hair always tied back tight. Her folder is thick, multiple institutions, multiple transfers. She looks at you like she already knows what you're about to ask. You sit down beside her and whisper, "Did you ever lose something?" And get it back. Her eyes don't move. Once. What was it? She says nothing for a long beat. Then my voice. You nod like you understand, but you don't. Not yet. She glances down at your pocket. Check the liner of your coat. You don't ask how she knows. You just wait until lights out. You unzip the thin prison jacket you keep rolled under the bunk. Inside the liner stitched between the seams is a torn photo. Not a face. Just hands, two of them resting on a stomach. A pregnant stomach. The image is grainy, almost ghostly. On the back is a name you haven't seen before. R. Fields. You carry it to the sink under the fake mirror, tilt it in the light. A nurse passes your cell and pauses. Not your nurse. The same one from 2017. She stares too long. You cover the photo with your hand. She walks on. You sit down and finally understand they're not hiding one girl. They're hiding a pattern. Pregnancies, transfers, erased names, recycled bunks. Every girl who gets close to the truth either vanishes or becomes someone else. You flip the photo again. R. Fields. You check the unit list. There is no R. Fields. You go to chapel the next day. No one else is there. In the hymnal drawer you find a rosary wrapped in a plastic bag, and inside the beads wound so tightly you almost miss it, is a folded corner of a grievance form. It's dated February 17th, filed by R. Fields. Subject unexplained night access to cell 217 by Chaplain MC during unauthorized hours. The bottom is stamped in red, dismissed, no evidence found. Quirky note. In 2011, a Georgia state prison was investigated after a janitor discovered hundreds of dismissed grievances shredded in trash bags marked for religious donation. Historians still argue whether it was an act of corruption or a cover-up buried under theology. You clutch the beads tighter than you mean to, because now it's more than one girl. It's a string of them. Solano, Fields, Ava, and now whether you asked for it or not, you're next. You head back to your cell. The guards don't stop you. On your bunk sits a fresh set of sheets, top fold tucked tight, pillow fluffed, your mattress different again. Tag flipped outward. This time it reads RF. You sit down slowly, and this time the warmth is unmistakable. Fresh, recent, deliberate. You stare at the door and wait for the lights to flicker. But they don't. They stay on, which might be the most terrifying thing yet. You don't move for 20 minutes. You just sit there on the edge of a mattress that doesn't belong to you, covered by sheets. You didn't request, tagged with initials you've only just learned. RF, the same initials as on the torn photo, the dismissed grievance, the whisper trailing through laundry and chapel and dreams you can't quite wake from. You check under the pillow. Nothing. But the air smells different again, like disinfectant and old perfume. Faint, like someone who was here minutes before you arrived and wanted to be remembered, or wanted to leave a trace no one else could scrub away. You lie back just to feel it. The way the bed cradles you, not like comfort, but like a trap molded to someone else's shape. You close your eyes and think about her. R. Fields. About how many beds she slept in before hers became yours. Then the buzzer sounds. You jolt up, heart punching your ribs. It's med call. You file out like normal, like nothing is unraveling inside you. But when the nurse steps into your unit, it's her again. The one with no clipboard, no ID badge, no visible rank. Just the bottle of sanitizer and that blank look of someone who remembers everything but signs nothing. She stops at your cell, peers in. Then she sees you. You watch her lips part like she's about to speak, then doesn't. She pulls a sealed envelope from her coat, slides it under your mattress, doesn't say a word. You don't rush to open it. You wait until lights out. You wait until Ava's bunk is still empty, still ghostly, still mocking. Then you tear the envelope open slowly. Inside, one folded form, a patient intake slip. The name line is blank. The date, February 17th, the room 217. The status, admitted, no follow-up. At the bottom is a scrawl, not typed, handwritten, just one line, vitals within range, no resistance noted. You stare at those 5 words, reread them 10 times, and feel your stomach twist. You're not sure what's worse, that it happened, or that someone thought this was normal. You ask yourself a dangerous question. How many girls have had their resistance noted? How many didn't resist at all because they didn't realize they were supposed to? Fun fact. In 1937, a women's work camp in Texas was closed after investigators discovered that intake logs were being fabricated to accommodate staff rotations. Historians still argue whether the women were moved for their safety or for silence. You tuck the form back under your mattress. A mistake. The next morning, your locker has been emptied. Not stolen, emptied. Neatly, strategically. Like someone was looking for one very specific item and didn't find it. The photo of the hands gone, the chapstick still there, which feels intentional. That's when you realize you're being tested. Not for pregnancy, for obedience. Someone is watching how far you'll go. You walk the hallway during cleaning duty and count steps to 217 again. 12 from the corner. 4 from the red fire extinguisher box, 2 from the flickering light panel. You stop and listen. Inside, nothing. You knock once. The door creaks just enough to open on its own. Not fully, just enough. You slip in. Room 217 isn't a cell, it's a room. There's no bunk, no toilet, no sink, just a chair, a folded blanket, a tray with an untouched sandwich and a bottle of prenatal vitamins. On the wall, a camera, covered in black tape, and on the floor, something written in chalk, "I'm still here." You don't breathe for 30 seconds. You close the door behind you and sit in the chair. It's still warm. You rest your hand on your stomach and stare at the tray like it might move. Like the vitamins might leap into your throat. Like the ghost of R. Fields is sitting in your lap, daring you to finish what she couldn't. You whisper one word. Why the door opens behind you. But no one enters. They don't have to. You already know what happens next. The door stays open for 11 slow seconds. Just enough time to leave. Just enough time to choose not to. You stand, step backward, and glance at the chalk on the floor one more time. "I'm still here." Not a scream. Not a name. Just presence. Just a refusal to vanish. You slip out into the hall, pull the door closed gently, and walk like nothing's wrong. But everything is. And you know it's about to get worse. By the time you return to your cell, a CO is already there. He's holding a clipboard. "Wrong unit," he says flatly, pointing at you. "You weren't scheduled for laundry today. You weren't in laundry. You weren't supposed to be seen." You nod. Must have been a mix-up. He doesn't smile. Just taps the page like that'll erase the doubt between you. "You are Fields." Your throat dries. No. He studies you like a man memorizing a pattern. "Didn't think so," he says, but something in his tone says didn't care either. He walks off. You wait until he's gone before checking your bunk. The mattress tag has been removed. Completely. Like it was never sewn on at all. The faint warmth is gone too. Everything cold again. Like the room's been reset. You sit down, hands on knees, trying to breathe. And that's when Ava's name returns to your mind like a drumbeat. Where did she go? Why hasn't anyone asked? You dig. You skip rec. You dodge questions. You go to Dina at mail call with your best casual voice. Anyone ever hear from Ava? Dina doesn't blink. Who you blink? My old bunkmate. She flips her logbook. You've been solo since transfer. That's not true. Check your own file. She hands it over, half smiling. You do. And she's right. There's no Ava. Never was. Even her handwriting in the hymn book gone. The folded laundry note she gave you replaced with a blank sheet. Ava's existence is being erased, deliberately. And maybe yours is next. Quirky detail. In a 1982 facility report from Illinois, at least 6 inmates were listed under aliases created by staff for internal tracking, usually during investigations into staff misconduct. Historians still argue whether this was a security protocol or a method to keep victims from becoming witnesses. That night, you sit in the dark. Not reading, not thinking. Just holding the chapstick in your palm and waiting. At 2:14 a.m., someone knocks once. Not on the door, on the window. You sit up. There's a shadow just outside the glass. No features, just shape. But they raise one hand and point. Not at you. At your mattress. You step closer, slow. They tap again. Then they vanish. You rip the sheet off, unzip the corner. Inside, a single slip of paper. Not folded, just one typed line. Use the name before it uses you. You crumple it. Stuff it deep into your sock. Stumble back onto the bunk and lie awake for the rest of the night, staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of who you are now and whether that name has already started to stick. Because earlier at MedCall, you could have sworn the nurse said Fields, room 4B, and you answered. Without thinking. The next morning, your nameplate is gone. Not scratched, not flipped, gone. A smooth plastic void above your door like the cell was never assigned. Like you've always been floating here, nameless, belonging to no one, or maybe now to everyone. You step into the hallway and try to ask about it. No one answers. Even Dina avoids your eyes when you pass her in admin. You check the unit roster pinned to the bulletin board by the CO booth. Line after line of names and bunk assignments. Yours is blank. Room 4B below it. Room 217R Fields, you freeze. You read it again. Someone moved the name. Not the person, not the body, the name. Back to where it started. Or maybe where it belongs. You head straight for chapel. You don't know why. Maybe you're chasing ghosts. Maybe you are one now. The lights are off. The door unlocked. Inside the room is rearranged again. The choir pews are gone, replaced by a cot, a blood pressure cuff, a tray of gauze pads. It's not a chapel anymore. It's a holding room, a conversion space. And sitting in the corner, as calm as dusk, is the nurse. She doesn't look up, just says, "It's better if you stop asking." You step closer, asking what she looks at you now. You still think this is about you. You pause. Isn't it? She stands smooth and steady. No one becomes R. Fields. She just passes through people. The system copies what it needs and discards the rest. You're quiet. You feel pregnant, you blink. No. Then you're not useful right now. The silence after that is thick as wool. Why the test, then? You whisper. She shrugs. Sometimes the idea is more powerful than the result. She walks past you just slow enough for you to catch her scent, clove latex, and lemon balm. She leaves the chapel. You stand alone, but something new catches your eye. On the wall behind the cross, a carved line of names barely visible unless the light hits just right. Solano, Fields, Ava, Janelle, M. Reese, Balyu Huang, dozens of them, etched by nails, keys, teeth maybe. You touch the wall, fingers trembling. Then just below the last name is a new groove. Fresh. Yours. No initials. Just your full name scratched in with such force you feel the groove under your nail. You back away, stumbling, nearly tripping over the cot. It wasn't there yesterday. Someone added it. Last night. Or maybe this morning. Right before they erased you from the board. Fun fact. In a now declassified 1999 report on secret programs within high-security women's prisons, one finding stated that false identities are sometimes inserted into the system to cover discrepancies in patient logs. Historians still argue whether this was data error or the kind of lie meant to swallow people whole. You make it back to your cell breath short. Your bed is made. Perfectly. There's a folded note on your pillow. In it, a cafeteria punch card with 7 boxes. 1 punched. At the top, scribbled in ink, each name buys you time. But only the last one sets you free. You lie down without brushing your teeth, without hiding the note, without saying anything at all. Because now you understand. You're not here to survive. You're here to replace someone. And maybe one day, someone will replace you. You carry the punch card with you everywhere now. Folded twice, tucked into your waistband, pressed flat against your skin like a thin, unspoken contract. 7 boxes. 1 punched. 6 left. You don't know what happens when all are marked, but a part of you suspects you're not supposed to finish the card. Not if you want to leave in one piece. You start noticing other women with cards. Never flashed openly. Always passed in silence. One under a book in the library. One exchanged in the chapel during devotionals. One slid into a laundry bin with a bar of soap. Each card is different, but all have 7 boxes. Some with 1 punch, some with 5. None with 7. You ask Shauna again. What's the card for? She doesn't look up. Favor, immunity, leverage. What do the punches mean? How much of yourself you've handed over? She walks away before you can ask more. Later that day, you're summoned to medical. No symptoms, no complaint, no appointment. Just your name on a clipboard that no longer shows up anywhere else. R. Fields' routine evaluation. You hesitate at the door. Inside the room is freezing, too clean. You catch a whiff of something sterile and citrusy, almost pleasant, like someone's trying too hard to mask something rotten. The nurse is there. Not the clove-scented one. A new face. Softer. Smiling too much. We're just doing baseline vitals. She wraps the cuff around your arm. As it inflates, she says too casually, "You've been assigned a new file." You blink. Assigned standard reclassification. You open your mouth, close it. What's the name on the file? She glances down at her tablet. R. Fields. Of course. You're starting to hate how unsurprising that feels. You ask, was someone else, R. Fields, before me? She pauses. Not officially. And there it is, that slippery administrative answer that means yes, but only if you can prove it. Vitals taken, blood drawn. No explanation for the samples. You're sent back to your unit with a plastic bracelet on your wrist marked OB-17. You ask what it means. Observation, the nurse says. Just precaution, but everyone knows what it really means. Pregnancy watch. And you're not even late. Yet. Back in your cell, there's something new in your locker. A folded jumpsuit. smaller size. Name tag reads Felicia R. You tear it off. Throw it under the bunk. Sit down hard. In a 1976 inquiry into experimental corrections practices in Oregon, one female inmate testified that name tag switching was used to manage problem populations. Historians still argue whether this was organizational chaos or psychological erasure. You know what you believe. That night the chaplain returns. You don't hear his steps. Just feel the air shift. Smell the aftershave. Hear the slow rattle of keys that never quite match the door. He stands outside your cell, watching. You pretend to sleep. He knocks once, then leaves. You stare at the ceiling, arms crossed over your stomach. A punch card, a new uniform, a bracelet you didn't ask for. You reach under your mattress and feel for something familiar. It's there, the chapstick. Still warm. You unscrew the cap and stare at the balm. Someone used it, not you, which means they were here. Again. And if the rumors are true, you're already 2 punches in. Whether you said yes or not, you begin to notice how quickly people stop asking questions. It's not that they're afraid. Not exactly. It's that the questions never lead anywhere useful and always come with a price. So most inmates learn to swallow curiosity like medicine. Bitter. Necessary. Quiet. But you're already infected with it. And now you're on the list, the invisible one. The one that doesn't show up on Dina's clipboard or in the CO's daily assignments, but shows itself in other ways. The cold stares from inmates who used to nod at you. The way your tray gets double-checked at meal service. The second OB bracelet that appears on your wrist without explanation. Double-tagged now. Marked. Observation Class B. That's what it means. You ask about the second tag at med call. The nurse tilts her head. It's for your protection, from what she smiles, from being mistaken for someone you're not. That's rich. You're already not yourself. The nurse hands you a sealed envelope. Inside a schedule. Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Follow-up counseling unit 217. You stare at the number. Of course it's 217. You attend the session because there's no real way not to. The hallway feels shorter now, like the building rearranged itself to bring you there faster. You're led into the room by a CO who doesn't speak, inside a single chair. And the chaplain. You don't sit. He gestures. You remain standing. Name, he asks, clipboard in hand. You answer carefully. You already know. I need you to say it. You hesitate. My name is... He waits. R. Fields. He nods, checks a box. A long pause. Then he says, good. That's the last time you'll need to say it out loud. What does that mean? He doesn't explain. He just asks you to recount your week. Who you've spoken to. Whether you've had any changes. You lie. Because you already know the script he's expecting, and if you don't follow it, the punches might come faster. He hands you a form to sign, blank space for name. You don't fill it in, he takes it anyway. See you next week, he says. Or maybe sooner. Back in your cell, there's a new item waiting for you. A baby bottle. Empty. No label. You hold it motionless. Not because it scares you, but because of how normal it feels in your hand. Like you've done this before. Like someone else has already practiced and your body remembers. You ask Shauna if she ever had something planted in her cell. She laughs once. I once found a crib sheet in my pillowcase. What did you do with it? Used it to tie my door shut. You nod. Good advice. You take the bottle and shove it into the chapel hymnal bin when no one's looking. That night, your name appears again. This time handwritten on the wall above your bunk. Not by you. Not your handwriting. Just 2 words, Mom. R. Fields. You stare at it so long your eyes blur. Then you lie down. Slowly. Quirky archival note. In 1964, a French women's prison logged 11 pregnancy cases in a single quarter, with no male inmates, no overnight visitations, and no documented medical error. Historians still argue whether it was mass delusion or something much darker. Lights out comes fast. The silence afterward is louder than usual. That's when the knock comes. Not at your door. From inside your cell. You sit up, pulse thudding. The knock comes again from under your bunk. You freeze, then lean forward. And there, etched into the floor, only visible in the flicker of the hallway light, 7 boxes. 2 punched. You press your fingers to the cold metal. You don't know what happens at 7, but you've just passed number 3. The floor stays cold long after the knocks stop. You lie back on your bunk, but you don't sleep. Can't. The weight of the room has changed. It's heavier now, like something else has settled in here with you, something that knows how many boxes are left. You stare at the ceiling and try to think of anything that feels real. Your name, no, gone. Your file forged. Your memories, maybe. But even those feel borrowed now. You roll onto your side and spot a folded note tucked behind the radiator. Barely visible unless you're looking for it. You fish it out with a toothbrush handle and open it slowly. 1 line. The last girl made it to punch 6. No name. No handwriting you recognize. No blood this time. Just ink. Neat and cruel. The card in your waistband suddenly feels like it weighs 100 pounds. You wake up the next day with a new schedule taped to your door. 2:00 p.m., transfer interview, med intake, room 217 again. But this time you're ready. You slip the punch card into your sock, slide the stolen chapstick into your sleeve, and stuff the photo of R. Fields' hands into your waistband, close to your skin. When you arrive at room 217, the nurse greets you at the door with a clipboard. No hello, just please confirm your ID. You pause, then say it. R. Fields. She marks a box. The chaplain is already inside, seated. Behind him, a new addition, a camera. No blinking light. No red dot. Just a black lens staring dead into the center of the room. He doesn't mention it. Sit, he says. You do. He opens a folder. Your new file. Inside, test results. Your name printed at the top. Pregnancy pending confirmation. You blink. What we have indicators. I haven't missed anything. I haven't, he cuts you off. We know. That's not the point. You don't understand. Or maybe you do. Maybe it's not about biology at all. Maybe it's about filling a role. Is this why the bottle showed up, you ask? He raises an eyebrow. I don't track facility supplies. Who does? He smiles. Who doesn't? You sit in silence as he scribbles notes in the file. Then he leans back and says it. You're doing well. 3 punches already. You don't ask how he knows. He knows everything. You're close, he adds. Most don't make it past 4. What happens at 7, you ask? He tilts his head. You graduate. To what he grins. That's when you feel it. A pressure low in your stomach. A cramp. Not sharp, not painful, just unsettling. Like something's been placed inside you without permission or recognition. You leave the room dazed, barely walking. At dinner, Dina hands you your tray and says, "Congrats." You don't reply. She whispers, "You'll want to start journaling." They like documentation. You want to scream. But the silence is safer. Back in your cell, you check your bunk. Same mattress, same sheets. But the floor, 4 boxes. Punched now. The new one still warm. You You stare at it trying to remember the shape of who you used to be before all this started. Your fingers tremble. You open your locker. Inside, folded neatly, is a onesie. Pale pink. No tag. No brand. No explanation. You don't touch it. You just sit on your bunk, eyes, wide ears, straining. Because now you know what the punches mean. They're not countdowns. They're contracts. And yours is almost full. The day begins without you. You wake late, head spinning, mouth dry like something chemical kissed your bloodstream overnight. You don't remember falling asleep. Don't remember lying down. The last thing you recall is staring at the onesie folded in your locker like a prophecy. Now it's gone. In its place, a file folder. On the front, your name. Not scribbled, not scratched. Printed, embossed. You open it slowly, afraid of what it might confirm or erase. Inside, an intake form with your photo. Blood work labeled final. A report signed by the chaplain. And at the bottom, a transfer request. Destination unknown. Date immediate. Notes, full compliance. OB 217 cleared. Your hands go cold. You check the floor. 5 boxes, now 6, only 1 left. And you feel it low in your body and echo like your name has taken up residence somewhere between your lungs and your spine. It's not a part of you anymore. It is you. Every question you asked. Every answer they didn't give. Every time you signed something you shouldn't. You leave the cell. Because there's nowhere left to hide. The hallway to room 217 feels different now. Narrower. Like the building has decided you belong there, and nothing else matters. But you don't go to the room. You go to chapel. One last time. Inside, the pews have returned. The blood pressure cot is gone. But behind the altar, someone's etched a new word into the wood, delivered. You sit where Solano once sang, where Ava once whispered prayers to no one, where our fields may have never sat at all. And you remember something Ava once said so quietly, you almost forgot it. The system doesn't break you. It rewrites you until you can't tell the difference. You remove the OB bracelet. 1, then 2. You throw them on the floor. Then you open your fist. The punch card is still there. 6 holes. 1 left. You place it under the pew. Tuck it into the hymnal. Leave it for the next girl who walks this line. Maybe she'll see it for what it is, a warning, not a path. You walk back into the hallway, not to your cell, but to the admin desk. Dina looks up. You don't speak. You just wait. She sees you eyes wide, then says flatly, room 217 is ready. You nod. But you don't walk there. You walk past it. Straight to the exit gate. The CO steps in front of you. You're not cleared. You hand him the folder. He flips through it. Frowns, then surprisingly steps aside. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he doesn't want to know. You step through the gate and into the cold air of the yard, and you realize there is no transfer. There is no graduation. There is only the illusion of being chosen for something other than silence. Quirky footnote. In 1959, a warden at a Midwestern women's facility was asked why certain files were never forwarded with inmate transfers. He said, because they're not transferred. They just stop needing to be accounted for. Historians still argue whether that was laziness or something far more intentional. You walk the yard, slow and steady, heart full of names no one else will say. Fields, Solano, Ava, yourself. You're not free, but you're not invisible anymore. And sometimes that's the first escape. Wind down 300 words. You lie in your bunk now, the lights finally off, the air heavy with the kind of quiet that only exists when the noise has nowhere left to go. The floor is cold again. The mattress is familiar. The chapstick is still under your pillow, warm, faintly waxy, untouched. No knocks tonight, no whispers, no new tags stitched into your blanket. Just stillness. Just you. Outside the hallway, light flickers once, but you don't turn to look. You've learned by now some lights lie, and some truths are better left alone. You exhale long and slow, letting it roll through your lungs like fog lifting from a mirror. Your hands relax. Your spine uncurls. The weight of borrowed names and stolen files slips off your chest like an old coat, finally too thin to wear. You're not erased. Not yet. And maybe, just maybe, if you stay still long enough, if you remember what they wanted you to forget, if you hold tight to that final blank square on a card you never asked for, you'll wake up tomorrow still yourself, or someone better. But for now, rest. You've earned that much. Even in a place where peace is rationed and memory is currency. Close your eyes. Breathe in the dark. You're safe. For now.